So I'm going to assume that most people have seen this, they're aware of this, but prices are skyrocketing for basically anything tech related, anything that is using chips and specifically memory or RAM. And the prices seem to be getting completely out of control. So I'm looking at Xbox here, but I mean, it's happening to everyone. I know Apple just announced recently that their prices are going up as well. And some of their devices, I think it was, for example, like the M5 Max, like they're going up by $1,000 or something. Like it's absolutely ridiculous. But here we can see it. I mean, it's happening to gaming as well. Effective August 1st, we will be updating prices worldwide. The price of Xbox consoles will increase by $100 US for the 512 gig models and $150 US for 1 terabyte models. We will also be sunsetting our 2 terabyte model. I mean, this is crazy. So last October, they increased Xbox console prices by $20 to $70 in the US, and they were hoping that another price increase would not be necessary, and yet here we are. It's going up again. It's going up even more. It's absolutely insane. Prices are skyrocketing, and most of this is all due to the big AI companies who are building out AI data centers and all the rest. They're buying up all the chips, they're buying up all the memory for their data centers. And as a result, the prices of these components are just skyrocketing. And of course, in the consumer side of things, with consoles and Macs and PCs and all the rest, we're getting hit hard as a result of it. Now, thankfully, I am not in the market, and I'm not going to be in the market for a very long time for a new Mac or a console or anything like that. So, I mean, this doesn't really impact me, but I'm sure it's going to be impacting a lot of people who had plans of buying maybe a new console down the road or a new computer down the road. Maybe they are due for an upgrade for their Mac or PC, and they were saving up for it. Well, you might want to hold off now given how much these prices are increasing, because this is crazy, absolutely crazy. But the one big takeaway for me, especially in the console and gaming space, is that, you know what? Maybe this is a good time to remind everyone that cloud gaming is a thing. It's kind of funny because I look back, I don't know, when did Phil Spencer start really pushing into cloud gaming? Was it 5, 6, 7, 8 years ago or so? I remember when they started to talk about how cloud gaming was going to be the future. I thought to myself, no way is this going to be the future. Why would you want to risk the latency problems and the dropped connection problems and all the other problems that you're going to encounter with cloud gaming? Why would you possibly want to deal with that when you could just buy the game, have it installed on your device, and then it's playing the game right there locally as opposed to streaming it?
The ability to take your gaming experience with you and stay connected to your games wherever you go is pretty special.
It does give us angles into other devices like smart TVs, tablets, and mobile phones, but it's people engaging with their Xbox games when they're away from their Xbox, and we think that's a good use case.
And when you look at the most played games, you're looking at games that are available on any screen from the creators, and they have tremendous success because they're available anywhere, from small screen to big screen. You're going to continue to see more and more games available on more screens, but frankly, it's today.
There is so much that could go wrong when you're streaming a video game. Streaming a video or streaming a TV show or streaming something on YouTube, absolutely different. It streams far ahead, and you have this buffer. If something does kind of get a little bit glitchy or falls a little bit behind, it compensates for all these potential problems. But with cloud gaming, there is none of that. Everything is happening in real time. Not only are you receiving this information in real time, but you're constantly putting back out, right? You're uploading in real time as well. Cloud gaming requires both consistent and high speed download, but consistent and high speed upload as well. And for a lot of people who are paying for, internet services at home, oftentimes, it's changing right now, but I would say for the longest time, you would get very high download speeds potentially and very low upload speeds. And the reason for that was because most people were not using upload. Most people are using download. Every time you're watching a video on YouTube or Netflix or Crunchyroll or whatever the hell you're doing, all of that is using download. There's very little data being uploaded. So as a result, the internet service providers, your ISPs, they were, only giving you a very small amount of upload speed and usually a lot higher download speed. That's not going to help very much if you're cloud gaming. You need high of both, and it needs to be absolutely consistent. It needs to be locked in. 3 or 4 years ago, I moved into a new home, and I live in sort of a small town, I would say. And interestingly enough, where I lived before this, it was a much larger city, and yet we could only get at the house that I was living in at that time, we could only get at max was, I think, 200 download and maybe 50 upload, something like that. And funny enough, here in my current town, which is much smaller, the local service provider actually ran fiber to most of the homes in the town. And as a result, I can get up to 1 gig upload and download. Like, that's crazy. That's absolutely crazy. Now, I'm not paying for that. I think I'm paying for 200 upload and download. But, I mean, that's more than enough for cloud gaming. And as a result, and especially when taking into account these bloody price increases, I'm starting to think, you know what? I think Phil Spencer was onto something. I think all these companies who were saying, cloud gaming is going to be the future, well, they probably weren't thinking it's going to be the future because of these astronomical price increases. But you know what? Here we are. These prices are completely insane. And as a result, it's making me think, you know what? I think Phil Spencer was onto something. I think we should now be pushing for cloud gaming. Unfortunately, all of that potential, latency problems and dropped connection and all this stuff, you have to deal with that. But with how consistent and how fast internet is getting today, it's making a bit more sense. And the nice thing is, I don't need any hardware, right? You don't need any hardware to do cloud gaming. You can play the most latest, most graphically intensive games out there, and yet you could be playing it on like your phone. You can be playing it on your Mac. You can be playing it on your Apple TV. It doesn't really matter, right? Because it's streaming the game. And as someone who is a bit of a minimalist as well, this works in my favor. Anyways, just wanted to comment on this. These price increases are absolutely insane, but the one thing I'm taking away here is that, you know what? Cloud gaming is starting to look really good right now. It's looking good, and I think Phil Spencer was onto something, and maybe I was a bit too rash all those years ago saying, cloud gaming is absolutely crazy. I don't want anything to do with it. I don't know why we would be investing in it, but you know what? I'm eating my hat now. I'm glad it's being invested in. I'm glad cloud gaming exists, and I'm looking forward to playing the new Halo, the new Gears, the new Fable, and everything else that's coming out from Xbox via cloud gaming. Really excited for that. Anyways, that's it for this video. I'll see you in the next one. See you later.